This conference will now be recorded.
Quorum, there's no sound.
I'm muted here. Does
There.
Start now. Okay.
better? Do you want to go back through the first couple items?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You want me to? Is that what you said?
Yeah, just kick us back off again,
All
I
right,
suppose.
start over here, everybody, because the sound, I guess, wasn't on. So I'd like to call the John D. City Council meeting of Tuesday, July 26th to order. Note that we are all here tonight. No one is here for anything other than what's on the agenda, and the minutes are not ready for this week. So
Correct.
we are up to speed. So
Back to the consent agenda.
back to the consent agenda.
Okay, so as I was saying, I don't know if I need this motion, but it is to inform council and the public that we'll be reducing our hours while we're doing hiring. Councilor works will act what we had scheduled for interviewing for secretary, cashier, here this week, and then we have some applications in the hopper for our senior accounts clerk. We'd expect to be back up to full staffing by the third week of August.
Cool. That's good news.
Yeah.
Any questions on?
I got a question for him.
Yep.
This came from 8 people in the community. Are we running a daycare center in our?
Already talked about that.
We've already,
Was that the last meeting?
we've addressed it a couple of different times. Go ahead and explain your.
Yeah, we're pro-natal or pro family. People are free to bring their kids in. The employees that we have are very dedicated, and they're great moms and they're great workers, and they have to bring their kids in order to make their schedules work. So there's no daycare staffer there, but we've got kids in the office, and I can work around them. Seems like staff is working around them.
So what happens on our, have we checked those, somebody else brought this to my attention, I never even thought of this, like if for some reason the kid trips and cuts their head on something, like, does our insurance cover them because they're under our staff while they're working? How does that all work when they bring their kids to work?
Good kind of question, if you have any ideas.
I have no idea.
So that's something I think we need to look into just for liability reasons, because I'm not saying any of our staff would ever turn us in or sue us or whatever, but if a kid is tottering around, I mean, they're all small, and there's some safety stuff around desks and stuff I've seen, but I'm a little nervous just in this day and age with everybody not always being so forthcoming that we should probably check into. I've even brought it up before, and when we've had youth driving in city vehicles and stuff like that, because I know like the county, that's not allowed for their insurance reasons. So I think it's definitely something we need to look into with our insurance, because if they're not covered, then we need to think about what we're putting ourselves at risk for.
both ways though, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, both ways and
But here's the other
staffing
reality
and
too, like, parents have to go get daycare to find their jobs. I mean, like, it is a harsh reality and it sucks, but it's the way parents go to work because they find daycares.
Not daycare.
Yeah, there isn't.
There's no
It's
daycare.
we're in a childcare desert.
I think they're all in agreement too, and when I've talked to them, they've kind of shared, so if Chantel was busy doing her thing and Savannah was not, then she was kind of corralling the kids and kind of watching them, and
Yeah, like I went in.
there's some,
Like Chantal wasn't there and the baby was there and Rachel was rocking the baby and so.
And as we bring in new hires, we're making them aware that people bring their
are any of the new hires
Huh?
got babies?
Yeah, not as of yet.
To be determined.
Yeah, to be determined.
Can't ask that question.
No, I know.
I would just check our insurance because I think we're setting ourselves up for some lawsuits or some problems if something unfortunate happens.
All right, so what do you think about the consent agenda? Everybody consensus, you want a motion, or is consensus good enough on that, or?
Consensus is good enough on it, I
Everybody
think.
good on that?
I'm good with that.
Hours are changed until we can get staff full up speed. All right. Moving on.
So, you want to read the title?
Yeah, hold on, just about there. Action item 5, resolution number 22-896-17, facade improvement grant program.
Great.
Call them.
So, finally, we got this off the ground. So my original intent was to have the facade program up and running by June. Our legal counsel advised that we pass it as a program in the city of John Day before we make any motions on it. This is that program. I can bring up the text of the resolution if you want to review it. But this authorizes me to implement the program as we envisioned it. It gives the administrator of the program, the city administrator, just pretty wide discretion to set up the how it's executed upon. So I was going to execute it the same way that we had passed it in that executive session back in March with the same dollar amounts.
Is this the one that had been, the lawyers had looked at and recommended to be redone? Everybody had a chance to look at that?
Yeah, and do they have any additional documents that they have to fill out or complete?
So I sent them my application that I modeled off of the city of Anita's. They've run a similar program. They're also the lawyer for Madras. So Madras has a facade grant program.
Right.
So today, after my call with them, verifying the program, they said, let me take a look at your documents. I'll make sure that it meets the text of the resolution. Otherwise, I'll provide you the ones that are similar. If we do have to update them, there are some other requirements. They want to see current bids from contractors, and I know that might be a problem.
That was my concern, was that it was asking for 3 bids.
Yeah.
From 3 different contractors. I think that
Sometimes we can't get that.
seems like a lot for John Day to have.
In Madras, it's probably easier to get 3 contractors.
I mean, I understand there should be some competitive, some bids so that you're not, for checks and balances reasons, but it seems like 2 would be more reasonable.
I think two, or in the absence of 3 bids, if I can get an explanation of the process for the business owner.
I didn't see flexibility in that, but if there was flexibility in that, then that kind of takes care of that concern of mine.
Under, I think it's 8.4 in that document, the administrator has some flexibility in how to implement it. I can ask that question of legal counsel and we can amend this resolution. If there's not that flexibility, understanding that we may only get 1 bid on these things if you can find time on somebody's calendar to come out and do something. But I think we want to make sure that we're competitive.
That makes sense to me. Good with that.
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution number 22-896-17, a resolution of the city of John Day establishing a facade improvement grant program.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 22-896-17 passes unanimous.
I'm really excited for this.
Yeah,
Really
me too.
It'll be great for our businesses.
All right, moving on, action items 2026, resolution number 22897-18, a resolution of the City of John D authorizing city staff to issue water and sewer credits to John D businesses impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and related matters. Quorum.
Great. Per our work session on June 2nd and our subsequent meetings in the Budget Committee and our meeting July 12th, staff have drafted this resolution to actually do that issuing of credits to businesses. The requirements of that program I broke out in the discussion, A, B, and C. That's kind of the general idea of it. We don't expect this to be a huge strain if it's just businesses to have a great impact on our water and sewer funds. That's where the money would be coming from. Now, of course, the businesses will have to provide some sort of documentation that they were closed for these days in order for us to actually issue the credits, and they only issue up to their, I think the average amount, monthly base rates. But if council passes this, I'll direct staff to start issuing these credits or to include it in the water bill probably for August, if not September, since we're hit the water bill for July already. And then I need to train up two new staffers on how to do just the utility billing in general. And then once we have a handle on that, we can do the credits for Jan 20 through June 22.
Have we got any idea how many businesses might have been affected by that?
No, without talking to them.
Sherry, are you on the phone here?
Yes, I am.
Any of your discussions with any of your business owners, any idea how many people might have to take advantage of this?
Well, I know there were 2 or 3 that did need to close, and they would be wanting to get some sort of assistance. But my question is, why isn't this coming out of the COVID money? That's what the COVID money was for.
So noted.
So you can get that question and you can choose to direct staff.
Okay, so what we're going to do, Sherry, is I'm going to direct staff to get you an answer to that question for the next meeting.
Okay.
I don't know if I have an answer for that off the top of my head.
So I do have an answer for that off the top of my head. So we're spending our COVID money. It all went into the Community Development Fund. Community Development Fund is funding downtown business improvements.
Did you hear that?
Repeat it, please.
So our COVID-19 funding that we discussed last meeting,
Yes.
that all went into the Community Development Fund. We're spending that on businesses via the facade improvement program. So we're making these investments that way. And then we have a needs-based. Huh?
I didn't think that the money could be used for that. I thought it had to be used for certain things.
To my knowledge, that is what we're spending our money on, with the expectation that we would receive more COVID funding at some point to do project-based work. To do this kind of recompense or business support, we'll do it from the related funds. Yeah.
Yep. In my mind, Sherry, it makes a little bit more sense to take it out of the water and sewer fund rather than the COVID money. Maybe we could use that in a little bit better way and use our water and sewer fund revenue to reimburse the business owners.
I just wanted to make sure that we're not going to run into problems with, with the funding that we received if we're not using it correctly. That's all.
And
noted.
As far as I know from our conversations with the attorney, and COVID can be used for kind of any government purpose now that we're so far out from the release of those funds. But we're choosing to put ours into businesses through the facade program and then a little bit.
Can this also be for nonprofit organizations?
Yeah, I think we can expand the definition of business entity.
I'm looking at the senior center.
You're looking at the senior center. So the senior center had to close check the text of the resolution. My instinct is yes, but I will have to verify that, and we can amend the resolution if it is not applicable.
Yeah, it just says business here, doesn't.
Yeah, it just says business. Certain businesses.
I get it. Any other questions on this, guys? We're gonna run this by, we gotta run this by the attorney too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get another.
Staff drafted this resolution, but
Yes, ma'am.
Just state your name.
Oh, my name is Katie Ledgerwood. Why is COVID money being spent on business facades? That doesn't seem COVID related.
Okay. So we haven't talked about it yet, but we've got a new, rather than to answer these questions just winging it in the middle of our discussion, what we're going to do is note your question. We're going to direct staff to get you an answer for that, and then you'll get an answer for that at our next meeting. So, but I think there was a lot of discretion in the COVID-19 money. And I think, personally, I think we can get a lot more bang out of our buck for doing the community development stuff downtown. That's what kind of the businesses wanted. Our water fund is solvent. So we thought that maybe taking the money to reimburse the people out of that was made a little bit more sense than to take it out. And I remember something else that happened, and I know Nick's on, maybe he can help us here. There was some time frames that we had to spend the money or not. And if we didn't spend it, then we might get more. If we did, does anybody remember that? No?
Yeah, we
Not
had,
specifics.
I think there was a timeline that had to be spent by a certain amount of time or you didn't qualify for more.
Right.
Anna, will we get audited for how we use our COVID funds?
No, because you're not gonna have that won't fall into the single scope audit this year. So we spent 180 of it previously. That's the year that is will be audited here in September. And then the other 180 will be next year.
But we will get audited for it. Like we have to prove to them.
That I really doubt they're gonna specifically look at that because there's gonna be the USDA dollars for the sewer department is gonna be your main concern.
And I would say, like, you know, I think it's tough looking at with all of the like different ways you could use COVID funds. I think putting it towards facade improvements on its surface doesn't quite make sense in terms of matching up, but it is trying to facilitate, you know, trying to improve our businesses' bottom line. It's their ability to bring in customers and thrive and survive. So in terms of like supporting businesses with those funds, it does make sense to me. I think there's like lots of ways that someone like a city could go about using those funds, but definitely think you can weave in why that's helpful for those businesses.
yeah, and I would just add that there are many federal programs that went out to do business support, paycheck protection, other kinds of things that the federal government can do with deeper pockets than a little city government can do with our small allotment of discretionary funds. And a lot of communities are looking at those for ways to bundle capital and match. So if you look at the city of Dallas, Oregon, for example, they set aside most of their COVID funds to put in as their percentage match for grant programs, which was our original intent with this, where we would be matching a Oregon Main Streets grant program through the Oregon State Department of Parks, Oregon Parks and Recreation Department, OPRD. And be able to multiply that money. We didn't end up getting the grant. We still want to get that money out the door and get onto our streets. So we're often going to go through and match it with Kamloops dollars that we got.
Okay, any more discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Yes, sir.
My name is Jake Little. It seems funny to me too that something that would, like, obviously that's a COVID situation, you have COVID money to use it for. And then it just seems to me that there are people in this town that have a hard time paying their water bill. You know, it's $100 a month now, and I just want it to be clear that what you're deciding on is you're taking a fund that everybody puts money into for the betterment of the water system and giving it just to businesses. when it seems pretty clear that COVID-19 relief money is for an exact situation like this. You're taking COVID-19 money that's pretty obviously for a situation exactly like this, and then giving it to what is undeniably a questionable situation. You're asking attorneys about it and all that stuff. So it's obvious, something obvious and clear, and now it's convoluted for a reason that somebody's going to get back to her for. That seems weird to me.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to pass resolution number 22-897-18, a resolution of the City of John Day authorizing city staff to issue water and sewer credits to John Day businesses impacted by COVID-19 pandemic and related matters.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, are you gonna check to see if nonprofits can be included?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted that noted in the motion.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. You're no? I'm opposed. Okay. Okay, 6-1 passes 22-897-18. All right, moving on. Agenda item. Action item 7, city financial statement updates. Quorum. Anna, do you want to take this one or? You can.
I got you here.
So I'll just preface this a little bit. We've been asked to show some of our financials. Had been quite a bit of discussion on here the last couple of months. So looks like we brought out May of 22's snapshot.
May of 22 revenue, budget to actual, and expense budget to actual summary, not the detail, because the detail is probably 40 pages long. My hope was to have June done by this meeting, but that did not materialize because of shortness in staff, and we're still working on June. The other thing to keep in mind is June is the last month of the fiscal year. So when you see June, it will be preliminary because nothing for June is final until after the audit. And actually July, August, whenever the following ones will also be preliminary, because if something changes, if the audit changes something in June, it will most likely change something in July. It's just the way it goes. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact me for specifics. The report's pretty self-explanatory. It shows the current month, the current year to date, the budget that has been, any changes that this council made to the budget is included in this document, and then any remaining balance.
Just for the public to know, the county does the same exact thing. They post it online.
Yep. So this will be like added every month, basically, is what we're going to try to start doing, correct?
Try to start doing it, but we're at this preliminary phase for the summer quarter. I'd prefer to hold off on posting those until fall once we have this portion of the audit shaken out, because these numbers are going to change a lot, or they may change a lot. I don't know. But as we are more certain, especially as we get towards the midpoint of our calendar year, we can just post these, and like these numbers are going to be what they are.
If we want to post preliminaries, that's fine. They'll just say preliminary across them. And then as we go through the audit and make changes, it will hit in your year-to-date column. And it might actually, it'll hit in the month-to-date of the month I do whatever the journal entry is that the auditor is asking. So it's totally up to you guys if you want to do the preliminaries on the web page or not.
I wouldn't want to put preliminaries on there.
So is May a preliminary?
I know.
No, May.
Oh, May's full. Okay.
Yeah, May's the last.
Happy with
solid
it this way, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody agree that we should have the actual numbers before
Final
we post them?
But if people want them, they can come request them.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. If you want the preliminaries, you can go through the public records request process.
You'll still send them to us like you have been.
Yeah, you'll still get them as I get them. It'll be a pretty cheap public records request since it doesn't take me a lot of time, and it's 2 pages. But I think it cuts back down on us having to go, okay, well, that was the preliminary from last month. Okay, here are like, let's spend 40 minutes in council meeting going through everything that changed. People have specific questions or want the documents, we can provide them.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay.
I thought the expense part was pretty good myself. Did you guys get a chance to dissect that any? Or?
Looked good to me.
I was surprised at some of the positive fund balances. Anyway, all right, moving on. Come on. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, Matt.
John Ralph, I'd just like to thank the council for taking the time to get this document available to the public. I think it's quite helpful so that we can see the nomenclature, what to talk about to you. If we have a question, so we don't waste a lot of time figuring out what fund we're dealing with and whatnot. And I think it's very helpful. I know there's a lot more detail back down deep, and that gives an opportunity for a citizen to target where they would like to see more detail, and they can come in and get the paper or request it to pay for it, or whatever they'd like to do. But it just gets it in one place, the major budget. Well, thank you for that.
Okay, thanks, John. Nice hearing that. All right, moving on. Action item number 8, Central Grant County Pool, Gleason Pool Purchase and Sale Agreement.
Great. Nick, do you want to take this one, or want me to kick it off? He's still on the call.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Happy to start. So I was working this project as I was transitioning out of my city manager role. It took several months to get the permit to do the demolition. We got Tidewater mobilized as soon as we had the permit. All in with archaeological surveys, it took about 2 months to complete it, but OPRD has accepted the final demo and site cleanup, and both parties fully executed the purchase and sale agreement on July 20th, which started a 30-day clock, and during that window, OPRD will review the preliminary title report one more time, and then we'll sign and close. So for all practical purposes, we're finished. All in total costs for the site demo came out to about $117,000. So the balance of the $222 that's remaining will be available for future expenditures related to the new pool per our agreement with the Hill family when we purchased the Hill Family Park property.
Okay, thanks.
Wait, I guess I don't quite understand how that links to the Hill Family Park.
Did you hear that, Nick?
Nick, about how the extra money relates to the Hill Family Park?
I mean, I didn't really understand at the time we signed the agreement either, but it was important to them that an effort be made by the city to replace Gleason or preserve it. So as part of that purchase and sale agreement several years ago, we committed to contributing the proceeds from the sale of Gleason, which was a separate transaction, toward the new pool facility. And it was a 5-year commitment. If there's not a new pool built within that 5-year period, then those become general funds that can be expended on any general government purpose.
Okay.
Nick, I got a question. It says the memorial will stand for no less than 5 years. What kind of memorial are we talking about to Gleason Pool?
They're going to have part of the historic structure agreement was that they had some type of an exhibit that the state will put together, basically commemorating Gleason Pool, its importance to the community when it was built, that sort of thing. And that has to remain on site for at least 5 years. So that's an obligation on the part of the state that they will fulfill.
And I think in the agreement, there's dimensions for that. I think it's to be no bigger than, or no smaller than 2 by 3 and no larger than 3 by 6 or something like that. But we're looking at a large info panel with probably photos and some text talking about the history of the site.
I would think it would be a permanent thing, but.
Well, it's their land at that point, so they're providing it. They're putting up for at least 5 years as per the agreement, and
If nobody destroys it.
Yeah.
Take down. Yeah.
And what about the John Schoberg Memorial?
Is that?
That's in the park.
That's where the trees are in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So
Was that ever discussed, Nick?
No, the only part of our agreement that pertains to memorializing things was the Gleason pool. So I think that would just have to be a conversation with OPRD. I'm not even sure if they're aware of it.
Pretty hard to miss it, but that's okay.
Well, the funny thing was brought up once during all of our discussion on the pool or the Kam Wah Chung or none of that, we ever brought up John Schoberg's. I hear more John Schoberg comments about the rock in the middle of number 6 at the golf course than I hear about the memorial at Gleason Pool.
The family was very involved with the swimming pool,
mm-hmm.
and that's important, I think, to them.
Well, maybe the best thing would be to site it at the new pool if that ever happens. That would be appropriate, maybe.
Possibility. But I think you need to contact the Schoberg family just to, or let the parks know about it.
Parks know that they're aware.
There's another memorial there.
Yeah.
Right.
We have the letter to talk
there's
about.
a part B of this. I'll speak to that a little bit, and then maybe Nick can jump in at the end if there's something I'm missing here. But so sitting in on the previous Parks and Rec board meeting, it was clear that they were going to take a vote on whether or not to refer the pool ballot to the voters again at some point in the future on their coming meeting on Thursday. If they opt to do the 2022 November election, timeline on that's really short, so staff are prepared to help them draft the ballot language, do what they need to do to get in on it. We would like, and before we commit to doing all that work ahead of time, to bring it to council to consider or reaffirm their commitment to the swim center as it was envisioned in the May ballot. So there's a letter of support. I can bring it up on the page. But wanted to bring it to your attention that we would be intending to do this and then send one of the counselors to their meeting on Thursday to maybe read the letter or just be present that we're still here, we're still a partner, we still want to see the pool get built.
Any discussion on this, guys, or are we pretty much supported this? Or
Sherry, this is Chris. Has the chamber been approached about a letter of support?
Chris, I don't know whether they have or not. I'm in Greece, and I can ask them to get back to you.
Okay, just remind you that they're holding their meeting on Thursday. This coming Thursday.
Yes. 2 days.
Okay, I'll ask Tammy and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Or can you put that letter up?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this looks good. I think that if Parks and Rec is going to be looking at floating another bond, they would want to see support from the people who put all the work in initially to get this created. So,
well, at their meeting, they also want to see from people who voted no. Like at that meeting, some of their questions that they asked the people who were there representing the Save the Pool, basically, like they said, 50% said no, 50% said no, yes, but not a true 50% of their voting district, but 50% of who turned in their votes. So once somebody brought up that to their attention, that kind of was like that makes sense. And an August or a early election versus a November usually has a lower turnout anyway. So that was also kind of a eye opener for them, I think. But they wanted to not only hear from supporters, because they know that they're supporters, but they wanted to hear from the ones who said no, why they said no, or the ones who just didn't vote because they either didn't want to or what. I mean, like, that was a lot of the questions that the board was coming back to these people with is, why we have to listen to our constituents because that's who we work for. And 50% of them said yes, but 50% of them said no. So we don't want to. So I'm just relaying back to you what was said in the meeting.
For the city, like they're looking for support from
Yes.
the city. So, like,
but just because we give support, they're not. I mean, they wanted to hear from the no's mainly to say why they should run it again.
Did you hear any no answers that night? I mean, any?
No, because
from the no's.
The meeting was literally planned in like
2
hours.
Yeah.
So it was like a quick text to a few people. Quorum and I were there, and then a bunch of the.
And it was a public meeting?
Yep.
And it was 2 hour notice?
So they changed the time. They changed the time. Yes.
Wow.
So.
There's one
insight into why people voted no. I voted no on it. I don't trust the city. My name is Jake Little. Again, this is Jake Little. I don't trust that the city has anyone competent enough to construct a pool for that sort of money, $8 million for a pool. I have contractor friends that say they can build 2 pools for that. I come into this building. I'm a volunteer firefighter in this building. I come in and I see that they poured the foundation for this building in January and it's cracked to pieces. There's so many cracks in the floor of this building. We park 26,000-pound trucks out here on a floor that is so cracked it looks like it's a mosaic pattern that was meant to be there. All right, like the bridge that goes across the river down there, I've run across that bridge. It jiggles like it was built out of bamboo. I don't think that we're ready as a city, that we have somebody who has enough time to dedicate to make sure that a project like that is constructed well. Like, if I want a pool, but I don't want it to go TU in 30 years like Gleason did, you know? And there's just a lot of things going on that a lot of people in this city, they just want to know more about. I think a little bit more transparency. The whole thing about a meeting being scheduled 2 hours ahead of time.
And that wasn't us. That was Parks and Rec.
Like that, I'm not saying that's anybody's fault. I'm just saying that like that makes people apprehensive about the competence
Absolutely.
of people running the city. And then other projects that didn't really go so well. You know, I mean, the greenhouse. People don't like that. If it's not already understood, people don't like that. I just moved here 3 years ago. People make it really obvious to me. They think the greenhouse is a waste of money. They think that some sort of underhanded stuff went here because the chief of the fire department had some sort of interaction with this building at the time. Like, there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions about stuff. You know, and then you look at Gleason Pool, that was sold for, as I understand it, a certain amount of money minus the cost of construction and removal. So what was the actual revenue of 3 acres of prime downtown property sold by the city? Like, after all this?
First of all, okay, so you're missing a whole lot of background information. So first of all, most of it's in the floodplain.
Okay.
So it's only worth what it's worth. Because the state's buying it doesn't mean they can pay any more money for it than you or I can.
I just wonder what
I know, but you're acting like you know what you're talking about. And you, okay, so there is more to it. The reason why the price of the pool was, they come back at us in the beginning at $85,000. We said no.
Okay.
We made them do it again. They come back at $220, and
with an appraisal.
With an appraisal, and with the demolition deducted from that. So,
So the revenue for the what is it, about 3 acres of land in downtown?
I'm not quite sure what it is.
I think so.
How big the pool property was? About 3 acres?
From what I can find at the planning department, that's about what I see.
And the actual revenue the city collected for that was less than $100,000?
He said it was 114 for the demo Nick did, so minus 220, so a little over 100,000.
It's also not.
Mayor, could I?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Nick. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I don't know the gentleman who's speaking, but the entire property is in a Land and Water Conservation Fund restricted area, which severely limits the potential uses of the property. So the appraised value for the property reflected that, as well as the existence of a pool that had to be removed in order for the construction project to proceed. We could be here all night explaining these various aspects of different projects, but I'm pretty sure that's not the intent of tonight's meeting.
I'd definitely like to talk to you again, Mr. Little. I'd like to explain some things to you or bring you up to speed on this building for one, because I know you've brought this up to me before, and there's a bunch of information on this building that you're just not privy to. So I'd like to share some of that with you and share how you got this building to be a volunteer firefighter out of, to be quite honest. So it was a lot of hard work by us and we did not build this. We had an engineer design it, build it. So again, it wasn't the city of John Day doing it. So anyway, enough of that. But I would like to talk to you about that if you want to.
What time's the meeting, Thursday? 7?
4 p.m.
4 p.m.?
Oh,
Yeah.
Like really, when people are still working? That's okay.
Yep,
Yep.
that's what they said last time, so,
has that always been their meeting times?
no,
No.
I have a real problem though with, I heard one person on their board say, we will not bring this up for another election. And now they're bringing it up for another election.
I think, Chris, they were under the impression that a citizen could bring it up instead, because I think what I had heard.
And they addressed that at that meeting as well, and that,
They don't understand about a bonding.
yeah, I don't think they understood that just, I mean, like Heather Rooksville cannot go put a bond out. I mean, like, it has to be certain entities.
If it's a tax levy bond.
Correct.
Put up a.
Well, yeah, I could put up a bond, but it can't be taken out. So I think that current certain person did not understand that, and at the meeting, they
I told them the same thing.
I know, but at the meeting, they did discuss it because the group that was supporting the pool brought that up, like, we would love to do this, but we can't. And so that's why we are asking, and we will help you. I mean, like, they were very supportive with the group, and the group came with a ton of information. They were prepared, and now they have another month to be more prepared for the meeting on Thursday. So I'm sure if you guys go, you'll be surprised by their meeting because they did a good job in a 2-hour, 2-day time frame to put a lot of information in there. Really is a good team working together to try to get the truth out there and get a transparency out there and get a lot of these what if questions answered, and the negative people who just make up the redo stuff. So, I mean, like, they admitted that they should have been more due diligent with the first round of counteracting the redo campaign, but they didn't. A lot of them got personally, I mean, like, some of us got personally attacked, threatened, children threatened. I mean, like, it got pretty ugly out there for some of the ones who supported it. And so they kind of stepped back. But now that they see that there is no Gleason, it's cleared out, it's done, they have a little bit more drive, I think, behind them. And I think it was a well-presented presentation to the Parks and Rec.
We've got to have people in the community have confidence and transparency.
Yeah, and that's what they kept talking about, was we really need to be us, because we're included in this. I mean, we're part of it. We're giving them some money, and we're going to be involved with it. The Parks and Rec Board needs to be, I mean, like, so I think I was very impressed with the short little scenario that they presented, and I'm sure at the meeting on Thursday, I can't be there, but I'm sure their meeting on Thursday will be well presented.
And I think the Parks and Rec meeting was not scheduled in 2 hours. The Parks and Rec meeting was their regularly scheduled meeting.
Their time change. Yes.
So it's not the actual.
So we couldn't get people there who were scheduled to be there because they changed the time with a couple hour notice.
Were they taking any?
A month ago.
Was it June's meeting?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so here's what happened with the June meeting. I know because I'm part of the reason there was a problem. I advertised for their budget committee hearing, or their budget hearing, to be at noon. That was approved by them when we had our budget committee meeting. There was a mix-up with the time. Their regularly scheduled meeting was scheduled at 4. So we had 2 meetings that day. We had the one at noon for the budget hearing, which was advertised, and they had the other meeting at 4, which was their regular time. It was not put together in 2 hours. It was their regularly scheduled meeting at 4. Because the mix-up was between the noon and the 4, but the hearing or the notice that was put out by Parks and Rec for the regular meeting was 4 o'clock. And that was put out with the 24-hour notice or whatever their notice requirement is, or however long they put it out.
I'm just relaying what was group message to a group of us.
Well, I was at the meeting at noon, so I'm the reason that there was a little bit of a mix-up. But we had to have the budget hearing at noon because that's what was advertised in the paper. And then they had their meeting at 4 because that's what was advertised for their regular scheduled meeting.
Good information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you know if they're taking written testimony or just? Yeah.
So that group was supposed to get written testimony, and I think Parks and Rec also said send us written testimony during the meeting. Yeah, so I mean, if people are sending them in, I don't know. I haven't spoke to anybody at Parks and Rec. And I did not speak at all at the meeting because I didn't want to have to recuse myself if anything came up with some other reasons that happened last time with the pool, showing support or anything like that. So I didn't say anything at the meeting. I just stood and watched.
Yes, sir.
Adam Mefford.
Adam.
And I just want to comment that the pool was a fascinating scenario where there were not enough credible, confident, and practiced lines of communication from the public entities to the public. And the real question is how many people who voted against it were under the impression they could resurrect the previous.
Absolutely.
If it was even one person, that's a tremendous failure. And so we're going to speak later in the agenda about just developing trust, developing a routine of different communication channels, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a single sheet of information with a water bill, whether it's a marquee at the pit stop, whether it's additional social media channels, because there was just a great deficit in communication bandwidth and a backlog of discontentment and distrust that came together in a really unfortunate way that's going to have a terribly negative impact on youth. And then just to put another kind of emphasis on this, there's a big chunk of money coming from the state, from the lottery fund, that's found money. Again, lots of suspicion, but this is a unique opportunity to put millions of dollars from the state behind something of lasting value to the community. Just, yeah, it's just too much to.
You're all over the state. Do you find this in other places too, miscommunication?
Sorry, say again? Do I work with the state?
No. You're all over the state, I'm sure, in other places. Do you find this same thing?
Misinformation?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure we're not the only one.
All around the world, really.
Yeah, I know.
It's a human condition. No, it's social media and these clicks form and.
Right. Okay.
And it's, I mean, have you ever played a game of telephone?
Yep.
Where he says to her, it's, by the time he gets over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't believe there wasn't more pushback on the negative.
Well, I think one of
spin.
the really big challenges is that you've got all these people putting tremendous amount of time into actually crafting this and doing all the work of getting it ready, setting up the meetings, getting all the people, going through legal counsel, there's just a tremendous amount of work to get something like this on the ballot, not to mention all the work that goes into the actual creation of the pool itself. And then you ask basically those same people, hey, also, could you, find the time to spend the, hundreds of hours that the negative campaign is, can you go on there and somehow address all of these points, lay out, the people who have the time to go into this whole redo campaign, they're not doing the work to create it, and they are spending a tremendous amount of time crafting a narrative against it. And it's not really feasible or reasonable for for the people who are putting all the energy into doing this to also be the ones that are having to address all of responses to all those questions and comments. And that in itself is a full-time job.
We get accused of lack of transparency, but that group that put that out, there was no transparency in that. They just said that, and with no proof, with no nothing, just putting signs up saying that that's how it is, and misinforming lots and lots of people. And I don't know. I just can't believe that there's not more pushback from the people that are on the fence, going, well, why would they say that? There must be some reason why they were saying that. There's no proof that that's the case, but yet it just died. They can say it and get away with it, and so I don't know. That was just something odd to me. I heard more people that either didn't get their ballot,
or their ballot is still sitting on their counter. I heard that.
Yeah. Some people said I'm not voting. Period. I just don't vote, and I don't get that. But I think I know 5 people that didn't get their ballot, went up to get it, and people told them that it's coming in the mail. Don't worry about it. And I think we need to let people know that if they don't get their ballot, they'd have the right to go up and get another ballot and actually do it right there and hand it in. So, I make people understand that. So
I think we've discussed this.
Yeah, we could
enough.
So it's dead.
I'd like to make a motion to sign the letter in support of referring the Pool for All ballot initiative and nominate John Day City Councilor Ron Lumbaum. to present the letter to the city, or to John Day Canyon City Parks and Recreation Board at their July 27th meeting.
28th,
28th meeting?
yes, Thursday.
Correct.
Second.
Any more discussion on this? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will present that at their meeting Thursday.
Before you leave,
I have something to add to.
before you leave, I have a copy that you can sign just for your
Okay,
convenience.
Perfect, thank you.
Now, I want to make sure where, if we have 5 counselors there, it is not considered a meeting. We're just just as a public person.
We can show up,
Right.
just like we did at the planning commission meetings and stuff,
Yep.
so. Anyway,
I have
All right.
something I forgot to bring up that I need to give you an update on for meeting with the county for cops.
We do that in other business.
Yeah, we are.
that's what we're coming.
All right.
Adam, I know the business.
Let's do Shot of Gold and then other agenda items.
Perfect.
All right, Adam, you be up?
Ben first.
Can we,
So plug in. Well,
Well, we wish you luck.
or
can
I
you
somehow,
send me a link?
yeah, and can you download it onto that? I can send you, because it will
Do you have to have the password to do that?
appear on,
I there. Love everybody. I'm gonna bring up the new video.
3 people. Facebook.
Nope, I wasn't sharing my
Hello, how are
the
you?
agenda
Is it
at the time.
Support the council support. What?
I don't
Care. I mean, nothing I gotta say, I'm hiding.
Right.
should I email you or?
Email me. Video. This meeting is not working very well, and I apologize, everybody in the public.
If you don't vote,
I think I could bring up.
kill your kids.
Yeah.
I'm going, what, why would that, who says that? I heard that from more than one person. You said it? You didn't.
No, I heard that.
I know who said it.
Telephone?
I know who said it.
Heather said
And he
it.
was a big supporter of the city, a big supporter of the school. And I go,
Can't believe Heather said that.
you know, the other thing I heard is, I didn't know anybody to ask about it. And I'm looking at him.
I know.
Don't know anybody to ask about it.
Trying
It's
to
like those open
connect.
houses we have, and we have 25 people show up out of 1,000.
If this.
We can only do what we can do.
1,000 people support us and 25 don't, you know, that's kind of how I look at it.
That's rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, that's a new retired man looking at the rose-colored glasses. Nice article, by the way.
See what,
Well, you kind of got that one wrong too. After I had the discussion, because district golf, I didn't have time to put there was like tons of data for all these people. I just didn't have time to put it together and send it to me, I'll do it. And I go, okay, guess what? He screwed that up big.
Yeah.
Just quit it and open it.
So I told him, I said, you know,
if it doesn't work,
please don't.
the folks online won't be able to see it, but we can plug in the laptop.
Let's hope your email works or opens.
Yeah, the internet here is kind of funny sometimes. Yeah.
Is it internet here or what is it?
Show up starting?
Yeah, that's not digital.
Let's do that.
Yes, we do. So these are 2 sides of an initiative and initially requested by Shannon. Exactly to this issue of how do local folks know all that the council's been up to for the past several years. So we were requested to do a 3-minute overview video that explains just all of the investment, all of the vision around the river, and the various business parks and other things. And additionally, we developed this illustrated map, which can be, which basically shows both present and future developments here in the city.
Connect to my hotspot.
So available at the pit stop and at City Hall and various other places, just so folks can get their head around all that's being constructed, because it's rather, there's a lot happening and there's not really a centralized way of people getting that information.
And that's going to be printed next week in a trifold brochure, map on one side, the content on the next, for easy passing distribution, putting into businesses. And then it's also something in, every couple of quarters we can do an update and refresh to that, print another batch of trifolds and then distribute them. That's more of a fun, thing for Coram to put in his office. And we will not be passing out hundreds of those unless everyone, if that's what you want.
We will be passing out hundreds
of the
trifold
trifolds, yeah. Not that scale.
It might be cool to put one that size in the chambers little
Yeah.
thing if they're allowed and have the room, just because that's a well-visited place in John Day.
If they'd like a slightly larger, we can also do that.
Yeah.
So if there's a scale that fits properly on a board or a wall.
Just because City Hall's going to now be limited hours, so they won't be able to see it very much for a while.
Put it in our window and put it on our website.
Yeah.
Why don't we just share it from your laptop, and I will provide a download link for people to view it on the meeting page for this meeting. You can
just plug the laptop into
you can just plug the laptop into the screen.
Dongle Central here.
Dongle, yeah. The multi-dongle tap did not work as successfully as I'd hoped it would.
Okay.
I'm sorry that dongle is now in the meeting agenda or meeting minutes.
Yeah, that's like my favorite. I didn't believe that was a real tech term for a while.
It's real.
At the last meeting, I said that I wanted it to be stricken from the record, that we could not use that word.
All right. The hope is that this will play.
John Day, neighbor to the Blue Mountains, to hiking trails and the John Day River, and home of the resilient American spirit. People move here to enjoy a different pace of life and stay here when they understand the value of small town living, the value of independence and helping your neighbor. The heart of small town America is about community, a place where no one is a stranger, where you can map the days of your life in the square miles around your home. The future is bright for John Day. Our investments will revitalize our economy, enhance local services, strengthen our businesses, and bring in jobs, with the goal always being to improve the quality of life for our residents. Our breathtaking landscapes, crystal clear waters, open terrain, our wild outdoors, they have sheltered us for generations, and they will continue to shelter us for generations to come. We are stewards of this, and our roots run. We are John Day. Let's thrive together.
Very cool video. Sorry you missed it online, folks. I'll find a way to post it.
Is it up on the city website already, or?
This is the first time I've seen it.
It just got finished, so that can be shared and posted. It's about 90 seconds, so highly distributable. It's probably something that you get on LinkedIn as well as other social channels as well.
Harp on it, but you missed the world-class tourist attraction. It's not up there.
Yeah.
I can't believe you missed that.
Kamlachung.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing more for Kamlachung, so
I know, but that needs to be there, guys. People come from all over the world for that one reason.
Absolutely, we'll edit that in. Yeah, give us 4 days.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah,
This is feedback time, so you have feedback for the video.
Check mark next to that idea already.
Yeah.
And our 3D house coming up?
Well, as soon as we're ready to roll with that, we'll be here. Okay, absolutely.
Number one on the map.
And there's also multiple other videos. Have you seen the other content?
Yeah.
So, not the only one.
But
This is awesome.
All right, quick additional items to share with the council and public. All of the work we've done for the city has been the Discover John Day website, work on the Innovation Gateway. We're working with the local school. We're doing multiple projects in the community, and we always speak about 4 different audiences because there are different reasons why we want to attract people here. We want to retain people. We want to energize people. We also want to help lessen some of the consternation that's currently in the community. So that's the reason that we speak about old timers, young timers, open locals, and new prospectors. The Discover John Day website is about the new prospectors. That's how we're attracting business here. The Innovation Gateway also is targeting new prospectors who can bring technology-centric jobs, scalable businesses, bring outside expertise, and hopefully develop local talent. The council has commissioned us to pursue activations to balance out the attention paid outside the community to the open local or the new prospectors to do things for the old timers and the young timers. So I wanted to revisit the activations that we're currently working on right now for the council, and also ask all of you for advice and support as we're actually designing these programs. So the first one, which honestly should be a lot of fun, the target is to collect 12 to 18 tall tales from the community and really illustrate those into fabulous tall tales and put that into a book for the review. And also extend that into possibly merchandise and other items that can help local business promote the community, make a transaction too. So we're looking for folks who've been here any time at all, but especially multiple generations, who know, you know, whether it's funny, whether it's scary, whether it's legend, whether it's true, things about the land before anyone lived here. Anyone who might be a great storyteller. So we're looking to identify those folks and then support the effort of capturing those stories. If local people are interested in becoming a journalist or just interested in spending time helping to collect these stories, something that we need are local folks who can respond to an email, know how to use an audio recorder, and can gracefully connect with people who might be older in life. So that's the lore of John Day. The 4-H Animal Influencer Project is the second activation that we're currently working on. We've made good progress on this. We've connected with Stacy Dirch at the high school. We've been talking with Aaron, who's on the school board. There's a lot of interest with the school to help train staff and students to better understand how to promote, how to create content, how to share more of the vibrancy of the school with the public. So what we've talked about with Stacy is to do a draft of an 8-week program run through the school in the fall, improve it, run it again in the spring. You can read a bit more about the program here. But especially for this, if we are able to train people age 14 and above on basics of how to use social media, I think it would be an awful lot of fun to intersect this crash course with local businesses. So local business that's selling Polaris vehicles, and we've got a charismatic 4-H animal. You know, there's no reason not to combine forces and put together a 15-second video of I don't know, a
pig riding
or a goat driving a Polaris. I mean, come on. So yeah, just to put this on your radar, we're working on these in the background. It's been a lot of fun actually going from complete abstraction to actually how we're going to meet the kids at the level that they're at and hopefully benefit everyone in the process. So that's the update. And again, we're looking for folks to help us connect with the old timers that capture the stories. Folks who are interested in, I don't know, any aspect of producing the tall tales. And as we make more progress with the social media stuff, general marketing for, any of the businesses on Main Street or off of Main Street that, add a little realism to our exercise, whatever you're selling, age appropriate, of course. Thank you. That's the update. Any questions, comments?
I'm really excited about seeing the map and watching these activations come together, and all of the video content that you guys have shown over the last year, I suppose. I think it seems like it's really coming together, and I appreciate your guys' work.
Thanks, Shannon.
Yeah.
Did you guys get in touch with Crystal? Remember I gave her your number during our conversation too, the one that's in charge of Grant County 4-H? Crystal Coley, okay. Because we talked about it, and there's actually, so OSU Extension actually has some programs, so we might be able to make off of that with our 4-H groups. Because unfortunately, if a kid doesn't have access to a pig or a steer or a lamb, this year we will have our very first hedgehog area, and we also have a snake coming for a show, so we have to expand our horizon with animals in Grant County. So there is some stuff with the 4-H through OSU Extension. get with Crystal Coley. I gave her your number, but if you need, or gave you her number last time we talked, but if you need it again, I can get it to you. But no, you're good.
That sounds great.
So I'm super excited. I think Stacy will be a huge avenue. She's super excited about the 3D printers. She brought them in for the school kids to be using, and so I'm excited. And we actually did a little bit of this for Zoe's auction item. Her pig is wearing sunglasses and a hat for her 4-H auction picture. So,
Sweet.
I mean, her pig is super chill, so he's able to. But yeah, no, I'm super excited. I think it's going to be awesome, and it sounds like we could even put like a portion of like an area of the stuff. So
Yeah, a lot of fun.
What's your guys's, have you guys been tracking kind of who's going to the Discover John Day website, and how's that being promoted? What's that looking like?
Yeah, so we've started, I guess since launch, obviously there's a kind of basic period where it's beginning to get adopted, so the user base starts at 0. We've been tracking analytics. I think we shared a month or 2 back a report with Quorum. Right around the time the report, we generated that first report, analytics report. We just started social media, and we're both doing kind of unpaid and paid promotion. So we basically created 25 short video snippets of all the footage, hours and hours of footage we've created, plus stills, plus written captions that Sophie's been managing. So that only started a month ago, maybe. So we're just literally every single week there is more and more content. We're growing the user base, and I think when we're back next time, we can share like an updated report with actually some demographic data. But we're working that is ensuring that it trends upward. And also kind of learning just from certain likes or certain feedback that we're getting from social channels or the analytics to then kind of make little pivots. We're also doing we're kind of like the Discover John Day site is just a living, breathing little baby child. So we pushed some updates a couple weeks ago. We're pushing some in 2 weeks. So there's going to be just kind of design changes, information changes, hierarchy changes. We're coming back in September to film the Cycle Oregon event, plus add the goal is to target some additional content. So we're putting up new emblems and new videos, and then able to push all of that on social to attract different, like the RV community, the cycling community, the motorbike community. So all of those will be target marketed and hypothetically, based on how the internet works and social media works, it's going to drive more traffic to the Discover John Day site, and then kind of alert people that this is a place to come and do a whole lot.
are you guys going to make it to fair?
Tell them,
When is fair?
The 10th through the 13th of August.
we may.
Okay.
We had so much fun last year.
That's it.
It's in like 2 weeks.
Tell them the
So there was conversation, short note, recap emails coming to Quorum, but spoke to the director of the Overland Expo. They just held it in Redmond, Oregon, otherwise there's Redmond, Oregon, and Washington, and shared with her a bunch of the video content we did to give her an understanding of the landscape, and they are highly interested, even from the very first email, about how to work together and activate John Day, potentially for the Expo, which would be a significant lift, so probably not next year, but perhaps the following. But they do a lot of activations. They do a lot of just literally anything you could ever imagine to do with that category.
The Expo was recently held in the city whose name cannot be said.
Redmond adjacent to Bend.
The forbidden.
But it was really positive and exciting to hear that this person that's been running dozens of events thought John Day was both attractive, the right opportunity. I spoke to some of the different, locations that you could, park vehicles, and we're up by the airport today, and just to look at all the potential opportunities. So we're developing that relationship and kind of working with Quorum to tee that up and build what they need to hopefully bring some additional folks here.
That's awesome.
There's just one avenue that we'll be looking to use this at like the hospital, for instance, for recruiting, and I think looking at user friendliness for people who are looking to locate for jobs. I think it's a great resource. I mean, it's the same idea. You're trying to attract people to live here, and just to, give people the ability to find, I mean, there's just different ways to like make it user-friendly for somebody who's, and then also sharing this with like local businesses and people who would utilize that, and having the businesses be the part of the send it out.
Yeah, and if there's a business that, when we're back in September or whenever, that wants to showcase something and we can logically fit it in, or there's something, we had an idea today that came up, swinging the DQ and doing this accelerated video where you see grabbing the cone and hypothetically making it up to the trail to enjoy your cone with the view.
Without it melting everywhere.
Without melting, we speed things up a little bit. But if there are ideas that benefit a business or benefit a group or benefit somebody, we're hyper flexible. I mean, it is literally for you. So please, email or share any ideas, because we can adapt all the footage. We can adapt. The edit will be literally done in Monday at the latest, ready to roll with your note. So it's quite easy for us to really.
Just a quick question. I just made a list here of things that people come to our community for. Schools, hospitals, never saw those mentioned. The 7th Street complex, I saw you guys down there the other day. That's best in Eastern Oregon.
Yep, nowhere. Agreed.
Hex, you ever heard of that? World-class hunting outfit here for clothing. World-class.
Yes.
Still.
Hunting. Stealth hunting clothes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw
cool. And the airport, of course, and I mentioned the Rappel Center. Really something that people don't, it's the only one in the region, the Rappel Center. You ever been up there yet?
No.
Take a tour, guys. It's awesome. And then these films need to go to the realtors.
Oh, yeah.
To send out to their prospective clients.
There's a lot here. It's like,
That's great.
There really is a lot to do here, a lot of offerings and opportunity. So yeah, we can incorporate, I mean, we'll take, if you want to, update that list or add to it and send that via email, that would be, while you sit on it for a day or two and add some more, I'm happy to review that and incorporate as much as we possibly can. Thank you guys.
Yeah, good job.
Good job.
And that was Benjamin Arif for the minutes and people at home.
Oh, and we also have a new run of stickers on the back table.
Nice. So excited.
These are really cool.
These are not small.
They came a size larger this time.
Oh, I like them.
Water bottle size.
Sorry. Really larger. And I don't think we need to ask permission to put them on vehicles. So let's show the RV.
Get magnetic stickers and then we don't ruin cars.
Voluntary sticker.
Some good job. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good job. Keep it up.
And then other business.
You had something?
So I had a meeting with Jim Hampshire last week, and we're getting some dates together that work for Jim, John, Todd, and then I'm going to get Quorum those dates when we get them, because they want him included in this discussion, and we're coming together to try to come up with so Prairie currently pays $90 an hour for the coverage that they have. So he's approaching all cities, not just John Day, but he's going to go to Canyon City, he's going to go to Monument, he's going to go to Dayville, he's going to go to Mount Vernon, and basically try to say, you pay for your calls, or can you give us 5,000? Can you give us 10, like for the smaller cities that don't have very many calls? So right now, Prairie City's committed 40, something like that. Right in that range. So he's hoping that if we can come to an agreement to commit some kind of money with our money, Prairie City's money, if Canyon City, Mount Vernon, Dayville, all those, they can hire 2, maybe 3 officers with that, and maybe would not have to do a bond, possibly not have to do a bond. That's speaking way open. So getting dates from Todd right now, and then we'll match up with John. Quorum's going to be involved, and Jim. And we're going to meet at neutral grounds. We are not going to meet at anyone's office, so there's no hostility or no unfairness, because that's been brought up before. So we have a neutral ground location selected, and so we're still moving forward with it. The county obviously is still looking at a ballot. They're tossing that around, and I'm I can't speak on that because I haven't been to a county court meeting to hear more on that. But just so you guys know, still moving forward, but it's getting a lot of pieces together.
I have a question on that. Is, have any of the other, because when Sam was here before, one of the last things we talked about is that he would set up a meeting with all of the participants. So are any of the other cities invited to that meeting?
Yes, so I believe that he has approached Canyon City and the city of Mount Vernon so far. I don't know who else he's approached, Jim being the person.
To be a part of this meeting?
To be a part, we're gonna be the original meeting, but then there's also, he wants to put basically all city.
Why not just do it all at once? I mean, our concerns have always been that there hasn't been that ask to the other community members, that it has fallen on our lap over and over again.
But they don't need to be there for ours talking numbers of what we can afford and what we feel comfortable with.
Because the whole point is to have a comprehensive plan that includes participation from the whole community.
I understand what you're saying. What we're trying to come up with is, because like I told them, when we got the proposal for 320 some thousand and it didn't say anything of what that money was going to, we said we wanted more details. So that's what we're trying to do, is $90 an hour, you get X amount of hours, or you pay for every call, you allot, I'm just throwing numbers out, $100,000 to pay for your law enforcement fee, and then they'll bill you, so they bill every month is how they do it. They send an invoice, you pay it, they show you every single call, when it was, what it was. It's very itemized, very detailed.
Talking about 911 calls? Okay.
Yes. And so I can't force other cities, like I've told Jim and like I've told Todd and like I've told others, but they are very actively speaking to other cities. But I don't care what other cities are doing. I'm here to get law enforcement for my city.
But the thing that we've said repeatedly.
Yes, and I know that.
But that's an important part of advocating for a plan that will pass muster, that will work, would be taking into account the things that we've said over and over and over again, which is that there's a plan that incorporates other cities.
So if I can't get the other cities to come to a meeting with these 5 people, then you guys just don't want cops.
That's not.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be hard to get these 5 people together, let alone.
For just a second.
Okay.
This city council has talked multiple times about wanting the entire county involved in a plan for public safety.
Yes.
So if the city of John Day is meeting with individuals that don't include other cities, that there's not a formula. There's not like a formula that addresses everyone. So then you're talking about just saying, we want the city of John Day to pay this, we're going to have the city of Prairie City pay this. I mean, it's not a complete plan for the whole county for public safety. So that has the potential of coming back to city council and still failing, because that's what we've asked for. That's what the whole city council as a whole, as a group, has asked for, is that they come up with a public safety plan for the entire county that involves everyone in the county. If we're asking people right now, everyone in the county pays county taxes for sheriff's department.
Right.
If you're asking the cities to pay more because they have calls, what about the calls that are outside of city limits? Why are they not paying more? I mean, every individual person in Grant County has the same right to call 911 and get a response.
Right.
I don't have more of a right. It's not going to happen for me faster. Why am I paying more money? You could argue that people that live outside further away from the sheriff should pay more because they have to drive further. It takes more time. I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying you can argue lots of different reasons why people
getting everyone together,
right,
and communicating together and creating a comprehensive plan instead of something that could look different for each entity. And I wouldn't necessarily, I'm not looking for, in terms of like what I expect out of this, like I don't expect perfection. Like I think that there's always some compromises, there's systems that have challenges, making it perfect for everyone is not practical, but including having that broader discussion. I appreciate the fact that the county is going out and communicating with these other entities, but I think it would be more constructive to kind of have everyone together and be creating a plan that is, utilizing all of that feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I would have, I guess, more trust in the process as as a group and just having everyone be able to communicate together rather than having all separately.
I look at the 911 call center, the way it's run right now, it's fantastic. I mean, it runs extremely well. I am for police. Absolutely. I want police. I want the sheriff's department to be able to run efficiently with enough people in their department. I feel for that. But I also think it's our responsibility as city council for the city of John Day to support our citizens and not say, we're going to pay this much more money because we live in the city of John Day for coverage more than anybody else does in the county. I don't think that that is a fair without any kind of formulation for the entire county.
Shannon, we already pay more than anybody else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we already do.
Commissioner-elect Raoul, at present, could you figure out or ask the county what percentage of the sheriff's department budget do the citizens of the John Day pay? What percent do we pay?
You pay the same percent, you pay more percent because of your population.
I know, but I mean, we're the biggest, what do we call it?
Largest population base.
But also the amount of money that are taxed in this area.
Oh.
We have the highest tax base of anybody else. So we pay more we contribute more to the sheriff's department than anybody else in the county.
I don't think so.
Don't think so?
I think that the way that the taxes are set up, you pay so much per
Correct.
$100.
Right.
Part of it goes to ESD, part of it goes to Grand School District 3, part of it goes to the city of John Day, part of it goes to the county.
But I'm not talking about that.
You pay more. You might pay more per $1,000
right.
than I do in Prairie.
What you're saying,
correct.
But it's not all going to the county.
No, but I just want to know what part of that goes to the sheriff's department of what we pay per 1,000. What part of that, what percentage of that goes?
The county's tax rate for the county is the same for everybody.
Yeah.
I think they're not understanding that you're saying because we have more homes, we pay more towards.
Our valuation is higher than anybody else in the whole county.
But individually,
Correct.
Individually, we're paying the same
Correct.
tax rate.
I'm paying the same
Right.
to the county as you are.
Right.
To the county,
more
I'm paying the
density
same
here,
as you are,
and the
personally.
aggregate is bigger.
Right.
Right. So
Our group-
I'm talking on an individual basis.
Yeah.
We're asking our citizens to pay more because they live here than anybody else in the county. Why are we doing that?
But if they did that $90 an hour, they wouldn't be paying more than anybody else.
Are you gonna bill everybody outside of the city limits $90 an hour?
It would just be cities is what I'm understanding.
That's where I'm.
My personal opinion is you put this on the ballot at the wrong time and you ask for another 300,000 from the county road fund. That was stupid, in my opinion, to do that. Stupid.
Wait, who did that?
Well, none of that doesn't. We're not even talking about that.
Are you talking about when we asked for 300,000 for the county road fund?
Yes.
Why is that stupid?
Why would that even be a part of it?
Because I guess I don't want to really get into that whole thing, but
John, I was wondering, we've talked, ever since this came up, we talked about the county going out for a bond. Has anybody ever crunched those numbers and find out what it would cost to adequately staff the sheriff's department to adequately provide safety for all of Grant County? Has anybody ever crunched those numbers?
I do believe Todd has. Cannot recall them, but I don't think they're ready for publication right now, but it's something he's worked on. I know he has, because I've talked to him about it, but we've been talking of all kinds of different ways we want to do this. And I know he has put together different scenarios to try to figure out a way to get the public safety issue solved. To be what you're saying about the equality or whatever thing, the levy actually is the most equality to everybody, because everybody pays the amount of the sheriff's department to have the service. And that may actually be what we end up with. Prairie City and has, kicked in money to keep their a certain amount of protection there. That system can work too. It is up to the people to decide that in cities if that could work. I don't really know the county court's feeling. I'm still elect. We have a lot of debates all the time too. And The actual thing is to just make a levy for the sheriff's department and provide the county with, the services necessary, or reasonable services, protection to our people. Because that really probably is the most, quality way to do it.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's like, I think it brings up a really interesting, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but at the same time, like the idea of that being equity, I mean, I think that's what I would love to see is that like broader discussion that includes the cities, includes other community members, to look at what that equitable plan really looks like. Because I think that would be in a way great for people in John Day who are, generally we utilize the service a lot. But I think someone out in Long Creek or Monument, that's a hard pill to swallow in the sense that you're a landowner out there, you're paying a lot for something that is not a service that you use a lot of. So I think in the sense that like it's equitable in terms of everyone's paying the same amount relative to your property taxes, that's equity in one level, but there is like other models for how to create equity in the sense of where the population centers are and all that. And I know that a bond might work out better for me personally in the sense that like I'm in John Day, but I support looking at broadening that idea of what equity looks like and looking at multiple models that would be the most equitable.
And that's why I think it's important that all those people be involved in that meeting.
I think
Because that you have someone from each city there to talk about those things and talk about how that's
yeah, and maybe represent
everyone
incorporated as well. I mean, I think it'd be great for some of the people to be representing that and just trying to. Then maybe they land on the bond. Maybe there is no model that seems to really work that all the cities and incorporated buy into, and maybe the bond is the best way to go.
I want to say I was on the sheriff's department for 3 years, working as a reserve deputy. It was very difficult. Then we had more officers than we do now, and we usually had officers because we were patrolling the outer areas of Grand County all the time because something could come up. The city, of course, Indian City and John Day were always where the most activity was. Prairie City and Seneca were the next. And you always had the officer that were patrolling, usually north and south. And if they got into something big, we had the folks in the valley to pull to go do something. And hopefully not everything everything happened at once. But you can't cover everything. We try to figure out where's a happy medium, if you will, to give the service to all of our county constituents. And that's it. And one time we even had a resident officer in Long Creek, which really helped cover the county. So there are different ways to approach it. If we give Todd the options and the money to do it, we probably can come up with a plan, whether it's the city's paying or how you think you want to do it. But first of all, you got to have officers to do anything, and they all cost money. They've got more training requirements than we did back then. They got all kinds of things to deal with. Much more complicated to be a police officer than it used to be too. But it takes up a lot of time to deal with the folks that need to be dealt with and to protect our communities. It's a complex issue, very complex.
John, what would happen if we had officer involved shooting involving the sheriff's department?
He'd be out for 6 months.
They have to stand down and they get put off the force, so they're no longer available till whatever clears up in the.
And we've been close.
We've been close
3 times in the last 6 months. Yeah. No, Todd's, I mean, like, it's a scary thing. Like, well, I can give you a justification. Like, I've had most people come up to me and they've called 911 and there's no officer able to come because there's 2 officers on and one is out doing this in Long Creek and one isn't. So it's, fortunately, nothing major has happened.
Look on your meeting, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Up by Magoon Lake, out in a pretty rough country, trying to get a person out that was badly injured. It took officers, it took firemen, it took
search and rescue
Medicare people to get out there to try to get the person. And all of a sudden, you got assets tied up in a hurry. And we are really, in my opinion, to deal with two bad things at this time. I don't know if we can. So it's something that we all have to think about. And I don't know the answer. It needs to be put out and agreed to.
I'm not against supporting public safety. I've said that every single time we've talked, is that I support financial means to support the sheriff's department. I just want it to be an equitable sharing for the citizens of John Day as it is throughout the county. So that's all I'm asking.
I'll call Jim tomorrow and see if
is that more people be involved in that.
See if I can't even get 5 together, but if I can get 15 together.
I'm prepared to argue for what we want, but we need to clear our values of equality and equity. Equality, we'd all kind of pay the same and be flat across the county. Equity is a value judgment, like
absolutely
your ability to pay, the amount of service you'll be drawing. Does John Day want to have so many more officers patrolling it because it's denser? Is it more fair for them to do that rather than sending an officer all the way out to Long Creek? It's going to be a long commute. There's a lot of questions here that need to be answered. So
I don't think we have control over, nor would I want to restrict, have it be like officers can't leave the city limits or something like that. I think having dynamic flexibility built in the system is important in a community like this, but I also don't think we have control over exactly what that would look like. We could have an agreement where we have people more staged out here, but we would definitely.
So like part of Prairie's agreement with the county includes like their busy stuff. So like our fair, like Saturday, Sundays, like they have in their agreement like days and events that would be more staffed and be more covered, and then just the general calls, but like 4th of July for them, the Fiber Fest, like back to school week because people are driving fast around the schools. Like, so that's in their agreement as well as kind of some target dates and target things that happen that they want more law enforcement to be present. And then it's just the general, and that's included in their contract.
Sister has 2 deputies from Deschutes County assigned to Sisters.
Yep.
Totally. That's where they're set. They're based at.
And they do 7-day transition. They do 4 and 4. Yeah. I looked into that.
I guess that's where I'm at. I just don't want something that's piecemealed out.
John?
We had city officers during my time as with John Day, of course. Prairie City had an officer. We had state police. When something blew up or something happened, we all supported each other. They were way off. State police are quite lean compared to what they used to be. We don't have any city officers. The other issue that we had was reserve. Having a reserve officer is just about a full-time officer anyway, because of all the schooling he has to go through or she has to go through. So we're being limited to have help. Just having a reserve officer as a passenger in an active police car was basically really handy. First of all, the reserve could take care of the communications while the officer was taking care of the real business. Today, we don't have those flexibilities. So it's going to be a tough find for how to do what we want.
You guys tried that old trick where you just park the police car?
Did that longer control.
The speed sign down Patterson did kind of slow some people down, so the fire forest service people are slowing down but on that road, so thank you for that.
Maybe just invite everyone to like a big ice cream social. Don't say anything about policing.
Just tell them I'm having a party down at the skate park. Come on down with.
It's a free money party at the skate park. Show up to get yours.
I had another question on 70% of our county is government land.
Well, that's true.
So when we go out on the call last weekend, is that on us, or did they pay anything for that, or is that?
County does get some federal funds for patrolling the forest, but again, I'm not real into deep in that. So I know they get some for that, and that is for things that happen on the forest. But the problem is, like this particular thing, they were trying to save a life, so it really.
No, I get that. I'm just in general,
out
on the forest.
We have a patrol force.
With this new sheriff, we have it now.
And it,
For free or not?
I probably like.
Oh, no, we
Do they
pay.
pay?
Yeah,
No.
before, Glenn didn't want it.
Yeah, he didn't want the contract.
If I'm correct, I think the judge went up to that as well to help, if I recall.
Sounds like Scott.
There was a lot of people that
Trying
blocked.
to get things done, they try to help.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Grant County though. Everybody.
All right, guys, anything else tonight?
Thanks for moving the trailer. I don't know who, they finally did it.
You kept asking. You didn't get $2,000 invested in this one though, so. Again, anything else, council? Elliot, Heather, Dave, Katrina?
We have, I might not make it to the next meeting because that's the week of fair. So you might also think about making your agenda limited because,
I think it'll be, so the next meeting will be a joint meeting. We invite them to do a joint meeting with us and Parks and Rec. I don't think I have a ton else for the agenda as of now.
okay.
I think it's a public hearing for the library. It's the other thing I have for that agenda.
I was gonna ask, do you find anything out on the bike racks?
So you can get mobile ones, so we can split the difference. We could do a bike corral that you could put in a parking space. So some examples of that.
That's people ask me about that, so.
Yeah, I'd be really excited to do that. I think we could look to drop one during Cycle Oregon just for the weekend or for the week and just test it out, pull it when we're done. I still need to get with the Elks Lodge and see if they'd be willing to sell us the land behind the senior center, and we could use that for auxiliary parking. I really want to expand parking options before.
I've already checked on that without the National Association of the Elks or whatever they call that, okaying it, because they own that property.
They own
John Day Elks, they own all that. So he doubted that they would be into selling any of it.
Okay, well,
Charlie.
in the intermediate period, once we do this public library hearing, we can take down the fence behind the Madden building and expand parking around the Camochon Visitor Center.
I had another idea for a bike rack is up where the rodeo museum is. There's that lot there of gyms that, you know, they don't park anything on. A guy might be able to drop a bike rack there for a short time, be right close to downtown. And again, that area that the church took the building down, they roped that semicircle off there in the middle. That'd be a perfect spot to put a bike rack right off the sidewalk. So again, I'm not asking for it for free, but see if there's some kind
see
of
if we can
work out.
get or something from them.
And again, you know, we always brought up the idea that if it's a liability issue, that the city could add that to their liability.
To our insurance.
So that would be an option too, if liability was their issue.
Check
So,
it north end, northeast end of the chamber.
Yeah, there's a bike rack there.
yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Are they keeping it though, or?
Yeah, I don't know what their remodel plans are.
I'm sure it was saying that was Russ.
It's rusted.
Still be a good place for bikes.
Yeah, it would be.
It would need to be signed. I think part of it's not signed towards. People don't know it's there. And when the pit stop is completed in September, there'll be some bike racks there.
Are they coming on that? I see they're forming the curbs.
Yeah, so we'll have it workable by Cycle Oregon. We might not get the pavers down, but we could put up a shade structure and we've got plenty of seating and like fire pits and stuff we could put out, and it would be habitable.
And it'll be paved.
We'll not. So we're going to put in paving stones. We're still on order for those paving stones.
That's for the first front half of it, right?
Yeah, so we can get the
Back
parking.
half.
Yeah, we can get the parking lot for that going. Yeah.
That part will be paved.
Yeah.
Do you have the dates for when Cycle Oregon will be in John Day?
10th to 17th.
Perfect, thank you. Oh gosh.
And we're coordinating that Quorum can give a little pitch, on the evening of the first leg when they're in town, and get up and tell everyone why they should move to John Day.
Yeah.
Well, they've been here 3 times, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't know why they want to move to John Day after the 3rd time, I don't know if they're ever going to move to John Day.
But I think it'd be great to do it on that Friday when everybody comes into town. They all kick off that morning.
All right, if nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Katrina got the second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Conversation. Thank you online. 7 please.
I just want to say.